We have a mailbag episode for you guys loaded with questions from Browns Film Breakdown supporters. So many. I hope we can get to all of them. You guys have been great. You're excited for week one. It's an awesome opportunity to get your voice on the podcast, have some great questions and topics discussed, and we're excited to get to them for today. So thanks for being here. We appreciate you guys stopping by and watching today's show. Let's get started with a ton of great questions on the latest Browns Film Breakdown podcast. What's up? What's happening, everybody? The NFL is back on. Brad and I are doing a podcast simultaneously watching CeeDee Lamb carve up the Eagles secondary in the first quarter, sort of hurrying to get some names attached to all these questions that we have. We have some great questions from our founding channel, from our Substack chat channel. We got some good stuff to discuss. You guys brought all of the energy to this mailbag podcast for week one. We'll do these every week. I want you guys to have a chance to get some insight on the Browns as you crave. So we'll try to do these late in every week for a Friday episode and, give you guys what you want, a little bit of what you want. So get your questions in every week. You'll see the question come up in the Substack chat. So if you did that, thank you. We're going to answer all of them. Brad, I welcome you in. You're steering today's ship. You're the point guard of the episode today. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good. I'm feeling very John Stockton-esque here.
There we go.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Football's back, baby. Opening night. Battling the illness still, as you can kind of hear in throat, but we'll get through it. I know you too. Case had pneumonia. Everybody, it's kind of going around. So
it is.
Be careful out there. Wash your hands.
It's the school starting thing, man. Your kids come home with something, or their friends have something, and it's every year, man. It's every year. So we're not in a weird spot at all with that. But yeah, dude, I'm feeling it too. So we're gonna labor through. We have, like you said, some great questions. We can't spend 30 minutes on every question. So some of them will get quick answers, some we'll dive deeper into. But for like a show where we have, I don't know, Brad, 30 questions, which is awesome. Let's just cut these things down one by one. Let's chop the tree, as they say.
Yes, let's do it. All right, we're gonna start off Founders Channel questions. You guys, did a great job. Some really good questions here. But JR started us off with 3 of them, and this one, Jake, is interesting because I talked about this a little bit earlier on All Eyes on Cleveland. But what's the story with Bush suspension or no? Is the question.
I don't think we know.
I don't
think we know. Yeah. I mean, I would think he would, because it seems like it's more serious, right? Did he plead guilty, or what happened with that?
No. So this is why I don't think we're going to get anything before the season. I think, according to somebody in the chat, and I probably should have looked further into this, but in my show earlier, that Kelly Black, shout out. I think his next hearing is in December. So I think the legal proceedings on the criminal side are still ongoing, which would be why he doesn't get a ruling yet.
Well, isn't there like an exempt list for this situation? I guess
there is.
I don't know.
But if it's a clear thing, if it's not a clear cut thing, like Rashee Rice played all last year, right?
Right. Good point. Yeah, and Rashee Rice gets that situation because of pleading guilty to it and all of that. And okay, that makes sense. Got it. Okay, maybe Devin Bush doesn't have anything happen until late in the year or in the next season. Maybe the Browns, then by that time, maybe they're done with the experience by that point. I don't know.
But Bond, and now we're really. I actually wrote an email. I said this earlier, Jake. I reached out to Florio. He'll great guy. Annoying at times, but he will answer your emails. If you send him an email, he answers all of his emails. Great.
That's awesome. Right? I didn't know that he would take the time to do that.
He does, which is an incredibly nice thing. But he's answered my emails before, but I reached out to him. I said, just wondering, if the NFL told the Browns to just this is how you should handle the Judkins thing, leave him unsigned until this thing is done. Do you think that they would still allow for time served? Because I doubt it. So at this point, I think the Browns are up against risking him missing time for no reason.
Right.
Which is unfortunate, but there is the idea that maybe they back channeled through the NFL. How do you want us to handle this? Keep him away, have him handle it. and then now they haven't come to an agreement. If he misses time because he hasn't signed his contract, and that's an extension of what is going on, could they count it towards time served? Maybe. I doubt it, though. Just a shot in the dark. Anyways, I asked it.
I think it's a
We'll see
great
what he says.
question, just for the simple fact how unprecedented all of it is with no
Yes.
signed contract and all of that. And I want to make sure that this is something the NFL has some sort of way to handle, something in place, right? So
Yeah.
I'm with you. The time served thing gets interesting, in terms of how the NFL would view it, but it sucks. The whole thing sucks. Even when you thought you were getting some good news, what was it now, like 3 weeks ago almost, you didn't get any good news at all. Nothing's come out of that. It's just been dead silent. People are tired of it, which I get. Tired of it.
There must be no way. There must be a restriction in the way they write up rookie contracts, like in a way to like nullify the first suspension and make the second one the one that voids until it happens. That's the only thing I can think of that would be holding this up.
Me too, man. Me too. And I would imagine they were close to signing a deal when it happened. I mean, he was in the range of guys that were getting that money. So
I mean,
really unfortunate all around.
It seems like the Browns would not balk at giving him the guaranteed money. So it's got to be a language thing, I think. All right. Question number 2. As we move on here, JR again. We've all been saying a lot of 2 tight end sets. How's Fannon's blocking?
Not great in the 3rd preseason game, but I think some of it was people around him. Like a couple guys went wrong place, wrong spot, and screwed things up. I'm not moved one way or the other. I thought he was a frisky blocker at college. Like, I think guys who have highly productive pass catching numbers get labeled as non-blockers, but he's got the body mass to do it. And I actually liked some of his blocking tape, in particular more his second year in the college level, where he was asked to do a little bit more of that, was not asked to do much of it at all. I mean, the guy went for like 1,500 yards last year, so there weren't many blocking reps, but I think he can do it. And I think the jury, verdict on that is out right now. We'll see how it goes. And if at training camp, it was fine, but that's not the most realistic setting all the time. So we'll see, man. I think it doesn't have to be elite as long as he's doing what he did there, splitting wide, catching glance routes for touchdowns too. I just think he needs to be good enough, and I have a feeling it'll be good enough. So certainly, I promise that'll be something we look at closely.
Yeah, he's a willing blocker, right? You can say that, right?
I think that's a fair way to put it. But it's also really hard to go from the college level blocking into the NFL and block DNs and bigger body outside linebackers. This is an adjustment period, so there will be a lot of patience required there.
The newly minted 44 we will see on Sunday.
I like it. I personally like. I mean, people are like, well, why would he do that? Well, he wore 44 in college, so that's not foreign to him. It's his jam, and I think 44 is. I mean, I know there's a lot of old school folks who love the 80s on tight ends and wide receivers. I respect that. I will say the only one I like a lot in the 80s is 88. So that was fine with me, but I like 44 for him for the versatility perspective more.
Same. All right. JR again, just 1, 2, 3. JR, getting your questions right out of the way. Does anyone else think Raheem or Rocket Sanders will have a real impact, Jake?
He also asked about 2 running back sets. We'll fit his last question there too, Brad. You're right. Do I think he has a real impact like early this season? Probably not, unless injuries force him to have a higher opportunity. I just think they like Sampson still, and they like Ford, and those guys practice with him. Are the most familiar with the system. So I think it's a long game with Sanders there for me, and I think there's enough talent to think he could find the field, especially situational football. So I think if you're going to see 2 back sets, which I don't expect many, you could see maybe 5 or 6 21 personnel type things, 22 personnel, maybe where they're 2 tight ends, a wide receiver, and a couple backs, where they're split backing those 2, Ford and Sampson. We didn't see as much of that after Judkins' scenario went downhill. So I don't expect to see a ton of 2 back sets here or there, sprinkle it in. But I also think, Sanders probably, if he's out there having like 20 snaps in the first game as a UDFA waiver wire claim, we got to have a big discussion, because that's That's a lot. So I think long game in the next couple years, he's got a chance. He'll get a chance. He'll have a moment or two and have a chance to claim that moment and make it a bigger thing. But for now, I expect very little to start. I think he's just largely out there as a security blanket and doing some specials where he doesn't have to think very much until he kind of absorbs the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions from JR in the Founders channel. Thank you, JR, for questions. Got those knocked out. We're going to go to Davaroth here with a really good question, I think. Who do you think will provide more value this year, Isaiah Bond or Jamari Thrash?
I mean, who do you think, Brad?
Thrash.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm high on Thrash. I thought that he did everything he could, at least from what we can see. I thought he came into camp stronger in the upper body. And he talked about adjusting to the ball size and things like that. And I thought he had a very good camp. I thought he had a better camp than even Cedric Tillman did, to be honest. So
I don't disagree at all. I thought he was productive when he's on the field. He looked sharp. The routes look clean.
yeah,
I think they cut Deontay Johnson largely because they feel pretty comfortable with him. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's there for him. Isaiah Bond, another one just like Raheem said. It's a long game, man. These guys are new to what they're doing. They see talent, but they're new to what they're doing. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of nuance to gather, all of that. So, yeah, I just think patience is probably required for both of those. And I have high expectations for Thrash fitting a real role this year.
All right, so good answers there. Positive stuff around the wide receiver room. Moving to Greg Jenke's question here about Schwartz's scheme. Jake, is this year's scheme more like the dominant 23 season or last?
Well, Grant Delpit today said, "Hey, man, we're a man defense team and we stop the run." Like that's what they pride themselves on. So I don't think that has been like entirely different. I don't think it was much different last year. I think last year they coordinated more intricate zone concepts with their blitz. There wasn't a huge, gigantic shift. Their cover 2 team was some cover 2 invert and cover 3 sprinkled into their man coverage looks. I don't think they rewrote the book last year. I just think they didn't play as well last year. And I think that they weren't as consistent in both levels. We wrote about it in the opening drive about routes getting open against single coverage. Now, I know there's a question later, and this is actually, we can hit on this as a 2-for-1, Brad. Ryan Knopfel asked a great question about does losing Emerson jeopardize how well the Browns have played the Bengals? And it probably does. We need to see. Like, listen, last year T. Higgins had his way with him, with Emerson. So it's not like all carried away here. It's not all done. It's not all washed out. But like at the same time, who are the Bengals putting in the slot? Yesterday's guest, Jake Lisco, talked about how they might use Noah Fant and Gesicki in a lot of looks. They like both of them. And Gesicki's more of that power slot. So can Mitchell, can Miles Harden handle those guys in the slot? When Jamar Chase goes inside, are they going to shadow him inside? Like, I think they've given Burrow trouble because the pass rush and coverage synced up really well over the years. Like, they gave him things that confused him, took away his primary, and the pass rush closing quick enough allowed them to get Burrow to check down a lot, get the ball to backs, keep them in long down and distances. And last year, in the game that I think that mattered, the game late in the year just didn't matter. The October game, they did a lot of that again, but Burrow was like peak of his powers and throwing with some real anticipation that was special. So I think you know what you got to do is make Burrow make a ton of those throws again, keep the pressure tight, try to put as much of Newsome and Ward on Higgins and on Chase as much as possible. You know, if you get those 2 tight end looks or you get Gesicki kind of playing in the slot a little bit, you know, that's where your safeties have to come into play some and get down and play him man to man, get Delpit against him a little bit more often. So, yeah, to answer both questions, I don't think the scheme has changed much. And that's what Delpit kind of said. Like, we're a man team. They played the second highest man percentage last year. I don't expect that to change. They could have some wrinkles in how they change things up again, some different looks tied in those big downs. But for the most part, they're going to remain the same cover 3 and cover 2 variations and man coverage. I'd like a little more disguise pre to post stat personally, but that's where I'm the biggest level of hopeful in the third year. You're very comfortable with what you're doing, so we can disguise a little bit of that. more often. But yeah, man. And then to answer Ryan's question is because he had said outside of Burrow's injury timing, what has led to this consistent struggles against the Browns? Well, like Joe Burrow talked about yesterday, like Miles Garrett like morphs into the backfield. It's like there before you get the football. And like the thing you have to do and what they have done well is they've really pressured him organically with 4 guys.
Yeah.
And they've gotten interior pressure against him, and they've made him really confused at the initial 2.5 seconds. If you can't get him confused at 2.5 seconds, the ball's coming out quick. He's anticipating. You're not in a good place. So I think the Browns like their guys. I think they like their interior guys to get some pressure. I think they like the 2 young guns opposite Miles to have some opportunities in one-on-ones. We'll see, man. That's probably what it comes down to. They're going to commit an extra body to Miles as much as they can, and they're going to leave Amarius Mims on Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright one-on-one a lot. They're going to leave, Malik Collins and Mason Graham one-on-one with those guys. Lucas Patrick, the right guard, who they think is going to play. Like, they got to win those battles. If they do, they have a chance to make the day frustrating. And again, like the Bengals only scored 21 points in that October game. It took a late touchdown to really ice that game away. To T. Higgins on a little slot slant. They beat Cam Mitchell. So, you talked about this, Breck. Can the Browns get to 24? Can they get to 27? Something like that. That's how you win. It's going to be like 27-21. So, yeah, a lot in that, but that's where I'm at with schematically, and then obviously what they have done to Burrow and where I'm concerned about not having Emerson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought what you said in the opening drive was good. Like, are they going to go best on best? Are they going to try to keep it best on best everywhere they can? I feel like they should make a concerted effort, but at times between Schwartzby going back to his predecessor, even before that, they were very strict, right, left side. Just that's how we're going to do it. I would like to see them move around, like follow, keep Denzel on Chase or have Newsome or whoever, follow Higgins. But then you run the chance of them, and I thought Casey brought this up earlier that, maybe they're bringing him Ward inside and then they start running the ball. And that's like the last thing you want to do is have him in there playing runs.
There's certainly some, but you don't also have to shadow every down, run downs. You can move, personnel wise. Hey, and anytime we're in nickel or dime, we're going to shadow this way or whatever, it's very interesting to me how that's all going to shake out, because that's a big chess match right away with the secondary against those receivers.
It's a huge watch point. And I feel like with last thing on this, I feel like with Burrow, you got to stay ahead of him. Like if you let him get comfortable, like if you can keep him confused and keep him guessing, that's good. But if he starts to get comfortable, then you're in trouble. It's not like a thing where you can like halfway through the game make an adjustment that really throws him off the track. It's like once he gets comfortable, you're in some trouble, I think. So
yeah, and he was really good last year.
Yeah,
really good. So yeah, be prepared, man. He's playing good football, and I expect him to still be playing good football right away.
All right, moving on here. We are in some Substack chat questions now. Do we know who this is from? Should the Browns take the over under on
it was like
Vegas?
a name I didn't recognize, and I probably couldn't, like, it was just like an acronym based name. So you know who you are. You asked the Vegas spread question for the Browns wins. I mean, it depends. Brad, you're the better gambling aficionado than I am. I would say, for the sake of the season, it depends on if you're putting like funny money on it or real money. I think if you're putting funny money on it, like taking them to be over 5.5 doesn't feel crazy to me at all. I also would be really nervous putting like a substantial sum on that, because it's like one Joe Flacco injury. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's a lot, and you don't really know the length at which some of the stuff around the team is going to be intact. So yeah, I'm nervous about that, but also if I had some like, a couple $100 to throw at it, that's kind of more of the, I don't like to presume anybody's financial situation, Brad, but if it's more of the funny money, you don't mind tossing it and having a fun season where the Browns are better than expectation and you make a little money. Yeah, I mean, I think that's very doable for them to win 6-7 games.
Yeah, I mean, it started at 4.5. It's moved to 5.5. I think the over is where most people are trending on this. So I would take the over. Despite their difficult schedule, I think you can find like 4 or 5 wins in there.
Yeah.
And then you say, Yeah, the overall power rankings and the national, look at this team isn't, they're viewing 3-14 and what we saw last year, which had to have a lot of things go really poorly to end up that way. So
Yeah.
I lean towards over 5.5.
Okay, there we go.
Next question from David Williams. Everything this offseason has been hyping the potential high of the defense and the expected low of the offense from the national and even sometimes the Cleveland media to flip it around. Who or what gives you the most optimism on offense, and what has you worried the most about the defense heading into week 1? Great question, David.
Well, I've been vocal about this one all offseason that the secondary,
Yeah.
I mean, the third corner role, whoever the third body is down near the line of scrimmage, whether that's a safety playing more of their heavier looks, or that's a Mitchell Harden hybrid. I'm just worried. That's the concern. It's the primary concern on offense. So what is this? The most optimism on offense? Yes, you flip it around.
Yeah.
I just think a rhythm in what Kevin likes to do is extremely possible here, and it's just last year was so disengaged from play to play. It felt very throw it against the wall, see what happens. And I
Yeah.
thought their mentality about going about their offense was broken. The RPO stuff kind of melted their mind.
Yeah.
Going into this year where they're away from that and they're into the environment they're more comfortable with, I think produces just a more cohesive, layered approach that one play builds on the next type of theory. So, not to say the offense will be good still. I'm not going that direction, but I am saying I think you'll notice is something you have the players are more comfortable doing, and B, the play callers more comfortable calling. So that's what I expect, Brad.
Same. I think that with I think we've seen Stefanski when he has a quarterback that knows what he's doing, he will scheme people open. He will make options available for you in his offense. I think he's a good coach that way, and I think that at least at the start of the season here with Flacco, they have a potential to get in a nice little rhythm. Potentially.
Yeah.
Now the run game needs to be a part of that, and that's a big question, but that's kind of how I think that you get Harold Fannin involved and Joku involved and get into a rhythm, and this thing could be better than expected, I think. So
I think so
um,
too.
Will Lorick, Will, who you are, brother. With a couple good questions here. How do you see the Browns using Harold Fannin Jr. in this game?
Little fullback, little tight tight end on the line of scrimmage opposite David, a little in the slot, little out wide. I think we'll revisit
Yeah.
this after the game, and he'll have played a little bit everywhere. I really do. I think that's what's been going on at camp, and that's what I expect him to do. He's a chess piece for them and one of their best skill guys. So yeah, he'll play a little bit of everywhere.
Question 2 from Will. Has Whippler looked good enough in the preseason to alleviate any concerns about Poach's health possibly missing this game?
Yes. Short answer. He's been very solid in both phases. The core strength looks good and improved even from the Ohio State days. He had a great preseason. Does that indicate a bunch of success? Necessarily, but I like it to the contrary. So I'm not overly concerned if Posick needs a week or two, but it seems like Posick's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I'm excited about Whippler, man. And it was a bummer he got hurt last year because you want him to practice and all that consistently. But yeah, I feel good about him.
Yeah, he seems to be kind of a bright spot right now, so that's good. Who is the Bengals' biggest weakness on their O-line? This is still Will here, asking these questions. Who's the biggest weakness on the Bengals' O-line, in your opinion?
To me, it's the guards. It is you talked to Jake yesterday on the crossover behind enemy lines. The concern is Lucas Patrick, not as good as they'd hope he would be, gets overpowered at times, also can just lose his man spatial awareness. So he's the right guard. They signed Dalton Risner. I don't think Dalton's ready to play. They don't think he's going to play in this one. It's going to be Lucas Patrick. So he wears number 62, right guard. That's the weak link. They like Dylan Fairchild, the third round pick, Georgia kid
Yeah.
at left guard, but he's still a rookie. So the two guards are it to me. The tackles are fine. Mims, we'll see. struggled in the run game last year, but we'll see. But also, and Ted Karras, their center, is a steady player, a lot like Posick in that regard. But the two guards, yeah, man, two guards and Mims. But you talk to those folks, it's definitely, Lucas Patrick is the one they're most concerned about, and they ultimately think that Risner takes that role.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, certainly listening to Al Golden on Monday. He was even trying to hint that Risner could get in there this week, but that seems like a little far-fetched, right? How does the Bengals' projected run game match up with the Browns' defense?
Underlying plot there. I mean, if the Bengals can come out with Chase Brown, and even when they put Taj Boyd in there, I think it's Taj Brooks, but anyway, their 7th round back Texas Tech kid I liked. If they play both of those guys, and they'll play Samaje Perine, who they brought back too, as a really good pass blocker. I mean, I think the Browns should be able to handle this, but they've got two big guys at tackle. Mims is massive, but he wasn't a very good run blocker last year, so we'll see how that translates into this year. If the Browns can navigate the run game and keep Chase Brown in check, that changes the scope of what the Bengals can do. So,
yeah.
How does it project? I think the Browns are confident they can handle that aspect, right? But it's consistently doing it, and they lost their wild card player at the second level, who was just a magician in erasing run fits and getting where he needed to be. So I like Schlesinger. We'll see if he does the same. He's also a rookie in his first game, so
yeah.
I'm very coin flippy on that. Who ends up winning it will tell a good story in this one.
Agreed. All right, Will, killing it with the questions here. Last question from Will, and this is one we got a couple times. So if you ask this question, we'll get to it. But either way, I think this was asked by a couple people, or maybe I heard it, and maybe it was in the other chat, and I'm confusing things. I apologize. Which running back do you think gets the most amount of snaps for the Browns in this matchup? Do Ford or Sampson match up better against the Bengals?
I think Sampson's going to play more. I think it's going to probably be like
really
twice as many snaps collectively, and maybe you'll see so if you got 60 offensive snaps, I think you're going to get 30, probably 30 for him, something like 20, maybe 30.
Touches?
Not touches. I'm just talking snaps.
Touches.
You're probably talking about 30 to 33 snaps for him. It's north of 20 for Ford, and then maybe Sanders gets in there for 7 or 8, something like that. That's the theory that I have on it. But I think Sampson's going to play a lot. I've been impressed with what I've seen from him in the preseason, and I'm excited to see him. That contact balance is real. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
Do you think he outtouches Ford as well?
Yeah,
I guess was my question.
I think so. I don't think it'll be by a wide margin, but I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Here we are. This is from Ryan Starcher. Back to Fannin. When looking at Harold Fannin and other tight ends that aren't Njoku, what are some indicators that we can see on game day that point towards knowing whether or not he is a guy that can eventually replace him? It's easier to tell these sort of things, Jake, with wide receivers and running backs. He's saying here, how can we gauge this with a tight end?
This is probably a good year-long evaluation. I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
I think if you're seeing him play more traditional Y, if you see them put him in on 11 personnel on his own and really pay attention to the types of blocking assignments they give him, right? Because some tight ends, when they're on the field, you ask him to block that overhang, or you ask him to block that outside backer or edge, and it's a dead play. You're not getting it where you want to go. So see the trust they give him, and then we'll obviously evaluate the trust to see how good he performs in the opportunity. He's going to be fine as a pass catcher. I just don't think there's a world in which he's not fine in that world. It's just a matter of David is so big and has traditionally been so, promising and productive as a run blocker. He's a hybrid extreme. I also just don't think there's a need to rush in getting rid of David. A 2-year extension makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the indication here is probably Baltimore's doing with Isaiah Likely. You kind of run him parallel to the other guy, and you give him a chance to grow into it. I don't think there needs to be a unless David just has a bad year and he's stepping in the wrong direction and all of that, I can see that move at that point. But for me, like in the here and now, like I don't see a reason to rush that. And but again, to answer your question, like how do we know? Well, it's like he's handling those blocking assignments. That's to me he's getting trusted with them and handling them is the indicator. But that takes a
Yeah.
lot of like leveled, film study and like we'll do that here. We'll dig into those details, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're not gonna like watch on Sundays all the time, but just notice like, oh well, man, looks like Njoku played 40 snaps and Fannin played 37, and you know what I mean. Like he was on the field for 17 run snaps. That's an indicator that they want him on the field all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess that's the ultimate question, right? Like, is that even something they want from him, or is he just a different type of player altogether?
We gotta figure that out this year. It'll be fun to do. We're not. I mean, I guess they want to be careful. We don't have to figure that out this year. Like
Yeah,
I would
sure.
like to take a couple years to figure that out and keep David. David's still 29, man. Like he's got
Yeah.
tight ends get into their 30s and find success. So and everything about him as an athlete says
He's still in his
to
prime.
to keep doing. He's still doing it well. So yeah, I'm into that if the price is right. Obviously, it can't be a bananas cost, but you know what I mean. For the most part, it
Yep.
makes sense to me.
With you there. All right. You're watching and listening to Browns Film Breakdown. This is our mailbag edition. If you submit questions, thank you very much. Next question here is from Sam Rugg. What does the week 1 roster tell you about how AB views this season? Competitive, but focused on development, or treading water and racking up losses for the best pickup possible? Sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I'll defer to your opinion on this too, Brad. I think Sam's first competitive but focused on development is fair. I think that
Yeah.
they want to compete as much as they can early in the season, see what's there, see how it gels, give Flacco a chance to inspire and lean on defense and try to run it a little bit more and see where it goes. And if it doesn't go well, yeah, let's get the young quarterbacks a chance to see the field. Let's see what we have in them. You'll know it. They'll shift and you'll feel it. But also they could be better than everyone thinks. So I think they're competitive, but yes, an eye is on development and an eye is on the next phase of all of this still simultaneously. And Joe alluded to that. We talked about his quote the other day. Like
Yeah.
he knew it when he signed. He didn't agree with the summer rep situation, but he also knew what they're trying to do. He didn't have to say it. They're focused on trying to figure out what the next phase is at that position and probably simultaneously figuring out what some of the names are that matter to the next phase of all of this.
Yeah, I think that they're giving this a fair shot. Is the one good way. It's how I would put it. They're
Yeah.
giving it a fair shot, and that's fair to the veterans, right? The Joel Batonios of the world. They came back and stuff like that. So I think that is fair to do. So
Well, it's a
um,
parallels off a question that I think Becker Nesbala, hopefully I said that name right, kind of asked about the UDFAs that made the roster this year. He said, "Do you think AB is saying F it? Let's see if all these players can be useful for the next 2 to 3 years at the expense of being more competitive." I think it's less that. I think they like those guys, but and they think they can help them compete this year, Brad. And again, I'll defer again to your opinion on this still too, but I do think they're putting their feet in kind of both worlds. Like we really like these UDFAs, and it would be really nice if they gave us a roster position at the cheapest possible number for 3 years. But
mhm.
also we think they could be dudes, and we think that we can compete with these guys simultaneously. And I don't think they're trying to tank right now. I'll let you know when I think they are, when I think they realize that it's important for them to rack up losses to get the highest quarterback opportunity possible. But for now, Brad, I lean toward there in the world of trying to be competitive this year. They're going aggressively at it with what they have within means. Like there are moves that are all in moves, like signing a nickel or trading for a nickel. If this was a team that felt like it was winning the division, probably would have happened. Sort of like the Dalton Risner Cincinnati signing, right? Like it would have happened. But they don't really want to dance in that world yet. They're not pushing chips all in the way they did a few years back, kind of with those Zadarius Smith types and stuff like that, So,
Yeah, absolutely.
um, they're eyeing the next phase while also honoring that they feel like they have enough talent to be good enough to sneak up on people this year. That's where I'm at with it.
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. And I think they could sneak up on people. I'm cautiously optimistic. We'll see how things
Mhm.
play out.